I saw Michael Jordan. I met Michael Jordan at this Michael Jordan party. It was at his party. And I never, I know it's some rumors that I asked him for an autograph and he said no, or like, that's a lie. I saw Michael Jordan. I'm at a party and I don't ask nobody for nothing. I never do. I don't like when people overly do it to me. I had saw Michael Jordan taking pictures with girls. He was like, and I ain't mad at it. He's taking pictures with people, you know what I'm saying? And he was taking pictures and and every now and then taking pictures, you know what I'm saying? So then later on, you know what I'm saying? I seen him and it was like, oh, there go Mike. And he was standing over there. He was with some of the Boston Celtics. He was with Spike Lee. He was with I don't know, some other people. And I was just like, man, this is just that one moment where I'm gonna say, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna ask Mike for a picture. And then I said, I went over there and I said, hey fellas, nobody was talking, they was just chilling, whatever, right? And I was just like, man, I don't mean to be rude, but Mike, I just want to know if I could get a picture. And then now I understand, I kind of expected him to say no. So I wasn't mad if he said no, but the way he said it, he said, oh, hell nah, man, I ain't taking no pictures with no niggas. And he said it like that, and I was like, I kind of got stunned for a second, because I was like, wait a second, I don't think he heard. I turned back, and my boys were just looking at me like, damn. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of thought that he didn't hear what I said, and I was like, keep in mind, I had just came from a Reggie Bush event. Everybody knows about the Michael Jordan jersey, right? Me and Reggie Bush was doing this event, right? And he was auctioning off these jerseys. So I had to keep on raising my hand and bidding for these jerseys, right? And it was a Michael Jordan jersey, an Allen Iverson autograph, the Shaq, a Vince Carter. There was a whole bunch of jerseys, right? And I kept raising my hand. It was like 1,000. I raised my hand. They said 2,000, and some dude raised his hand. And they said 3,000. I raised my hand. They said 4,000. We kept going back and forth. And then I finally went over to him at 7,000 and was like, hey, man, stop raising your hand, man. You don't want them jerseys. And he was like, I said, man, how about we stop and then we both split the jerseys at 7,000 and we split the money. And he was like, all right, cool. So we didn't raise our hands no more. And then they said, sold to Chamillionaire and that guy right there for $7,000. So the guy tells me that he wasn't even he didn't even want to get the jerseys. He was just trying to show off to Kim Kardashian, who was on the stage. I was like, man, this dude that made me pay $7,000 for these jerseys, and he didn't even want the jerseys. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, whatever, right? I'm telling Michael the story. I'm like, I just bid $7,000 for a Michael Jordan jersey. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then he goes, you know what? I'll tell you what. You pay $15,000 right now for a jersey from me, and I'll take a picture with you. And keep in mind, Michael Jordan's real tall. He's looking down on me, and I'm looking up at him like, man, I never been so heated in my life, man. My heart just started racing like, I'm about to steal off on this fool. And I thought about all the times when I used to pause the little video game or the basketball game and draw the picture of this dude dunking. I thought about all the times when I seen John Starks come baseline and just dunk on them fools. I thought about the time when Allen Iverson crossed them over, and I was like, what? Jordan, how you let Allen Iverson cross you over? Like, big Michael Jordan fan. And it's just the way he did it. And then, who was it? Paul Pierce. So one of them was like, yo, hey, man, chill out. That's Chamillionaire, man. He was like, I don't give up. And he cursed. He said, I don't give up, nigga. And I was like, and then you know what I did? I just sat there for a second. I just sat there and looked at him. And then I turned to Spike Lee and I said, you know what? I appreciate it, bro. That's all good. And I shook Spike Lee's hand. And they all had that look like, man, that's just how Mike is. You know what I'm saying? I shook everybody's hand. And then I walked off. And then Ray Allen was over there. And Ray Allen was like, hey, man, he took a picture with me. I guess they was kind of do it because they kind of felt kind of like a certain way or something. I took a picture with Paul Pierce and everything, but it wasn't really even that big a deal. I expected him to say no. It's just the way he said it. It was the most rudest. I'm probably not even repeating it as mean as he said it. So after that, I was like, wow, man, this dude must really he must feel a certain way inside where he just treat people like that. And keep in mind, when I used to stay in Chicago, a lot of y'all know about I used to stay in Chicago, the people that I used to stay with, they used to tell me all the time that Michael Jordan is bad, man. He just be smoking weed, cursing all day. I didn't believe it. I was like, no way, not Michael. You know what I'm saying? Because the image that he portrayed. And then they was like, they knew because they used to clean his cars. They used to work for the company to clean his cars. And he always used to be cursing at them. He always used to be talking trash to them. He always used to be saying stuff. And they told me, and I was like, nah. So then when I finally saw him, he was like that to me. So I was like, wow. And then I had heard so many rumors about people saying how Michael Jordan, how bad he was. So I was kind of disappointed. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know there's some people that's gonna go out there and say, oh, Cam was a groupie for Michael Jordan, man. You can say whatever you want, man. Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, them the biggest icons that I ever had. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no rapper. It was those was it. Because remember, I wasn't really allowed to listen to rap like that when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? It was my dad used to watch basketball all day. Michael Jordan, Hakeem Olajuwon, I could tell you anything. You know what I'm saying? And then Michael Jackson. But you know, so Mike was just a big disappointment, man. And then sometimes a little kid will be asking for an autograph. He'll be like, oh, no, you know what I'm saying? That's why to this day, I'll never be like that. Even if I'm in a bad mood when people ask me, I still do it. I wouldn't talk that way to somebody. I might even tell them, man, I'm not really in the mood, but I still do it in a nice way. He'll curse you out. So, and then after that, my security called me and was like, yo, Nike brand Jordan wants to talk to you because they want to apologize. They were trying to send me Nike Jordans and all this stuff. And, I was like, oh, and then to make the story even interesting, when I was coming in, I was about to leave, and I saw Young Jock coming in. And Young Jock was all heated about something because I was like, hey, man, no matter what you do not go talk to Michael Jordan. And then he was like, F Michael Jordan. And I was like, why you all mad? He was like, because he had just came down the red carpet and he was wearing some Adidas and people were mad. They were like, how you going to disrespect Michael Jordan in the air that he walks on because you coming into his party with some Adidas on? And Young Chuck was like, what? Like, I'm not even going to repeat what he said, but he was like, man, I'm not, it's not God. What you talking about? Like, that's how they was acting, you know what I'm saying? So that's my Michael Jordan story. I don't know if I've told anybody that full story in entirety, but yeah, he was like looking down on me, cursing like he wanted to fight, and it just came out of nowhere. He must have been in a bad mood. It was bad. It was bad. It was like pretty embarrassing. Like, as a man, even as a man, you want to be like, I actually felt like, man, I should just steal him right now. I'm just gonna steal him. I don't care what happens. I'm just about to punch him. But I didn't. I refrained, and I was just like, yeah, all right. He probably would have knocked me out. Michael Jordan probably would have knocked me out. I don't care. I would have made front page. Believe that.
Hakeem Temidayo Seriki, aka Chamillionaire, born November 28, 1979. Today's feature has been at the top of the rap game in the early 2000s behind his hit song Ridin and debut album that topped the Billboard charts for multiple weeks and even won a Grammy Award for Best Rap Performance. With 3.2 million sold, it became one of the best-selling records of 2006. It had the best rap video on MTV, BET, and Rolling Stone named it a top 100 song of 2006. As far as ringtones, Chamillionaire dominated that field as well, selling 3.2 million and being certified platinum 3 times. It sold so much he was certified by the RIAA as the first multi-platinum Mastertone artist in history. So no, Soulja Boy, you were not the first to do everything.
Man, stop playing with me. What? I'm the first nigga to do all type of shit.
Behind the success of Ridin, his first album released and went platinum. At the time, the South was running the game, in particular Texas, who already saw the success of Mike Jones, Paul Wall, Slim Thug, and others. Chamillionaire was supposed to be right down that line and keep the state relevant, but out of nowhere, he was just gone. Not before releasing a follow-up album in 2007 that went gold and just shy of platinum status without a hit featured track like his first album. Chamillionaire had the respect of the entire rap game and had a crossover ability to his music that could have seen him amount to one of the best Southern rappers of all time had he stayed the course. He went on to become one of the more successful investors of a music background and reportedly made millions more than he could have had he stayed the rap path. He made so many sound investments and money that he literally never put out another album as Chamillionaire and doesn't seem to have interest in doing so. It's bittersweet for me to hear that because Chamillionaire was a favorite artist of mine and I just knew he was up next to sit atop the hip-hop mountain. As far as a technical rapper, there weren't many better than Chamillionaire. Whether he rapped fast or slow, he was always audible and on beat. Like you could tell every word he rapped meant something to him as he wanted to pronounce them clearly. It was something different about him, and musically, I can't help but feel the world didn't get the chance to see that in its entirety. But he was still a success and had an amazing ride, and if not for these 3 reasons, possibly could have been the best rapper from the South, maybe ever. What happened? Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth Music. Let's get it, man. Chamillionaire was a rapper from Houston, Texas, where he moved to at age 4 from Washington, D.C., the city he was born. In high school, he met fellow Houston rapper Paul Wall and connected over their love for hip-hop. His parents, who were very religious, didn't initially want Chamillionaire to do secular music, but he would always sneak away with his friends and rap at school or one of their houses until he and Paul Wall agreed to make hip-hop a serious career. He chose the name Chamillionaire because it fit his personality and dreams most. A guy that moves in silence, fits in any situation, and destined to financially be successful. Stunt number 1, label issues. With an artist like Chamillionaire, many would first say to themselves when hearing a story like this, how can his growth be stunted? He's like a billionaire investor or something, right? Billionaire, give or take, and you're right. But keeping this strictly about his music career, not continuing the pace it was set on, one thing I think hindered Chamillionaire from doing a bit more is the battle he had with his label Universal, resulting in him not releasing new music and eventually getting so fed up with the music business that it was easy for him to choose another path. Universal, for one, were not happy to hear this because together with Chamillionaire, they made great music and had tons of success. Chamillionaire was founded rapping by Michael Watts, a famous Houston DJ, on an intro for Watts' radio show. That led to he and Paul Wall being regulars on Watts' mixtapes and in Swisher House, formed as a collective to showcase the talent in Houston by Michael Watts. He and Paul Wall would release a collaborative album called Get Your Mind Correct that became a Houston street classic and catapulted Chamillionaire to signing a joint deal between his own Chamillionare Entertainment label and Universal. He and Universal's first order of business was to release his debut studio album, The Sound of Revenge, in 2005. The first single, Turn It Up with Lil Flip, was cool, but when he released Ridin, things blew up for Chamillionaire and all the awards and accolades came pouring in. It was a success for both he and the label, having a platinum debut album. Album 2 was quickly thought of and released in 2007 without any profanity. It didn't have a big lead single and didn't sell as much as album 1, but was still a success, going gold and overall selling over 700,000 copies. But then label disagreements happened and he was unable to release music. In 2011, he announced he was leaving the label and they further held up his third album, leaving him to only release mixtapes. Had these label issues not happened, maybe he'd still be putting out albums today. Stunt number 2, becoming an investor. Probably the biggest stunt to Chamillionaire's musical growth was him finding the world of investing and officially leaving music altogether completely. In 2015, he'd be appointed one of the lead entrepreneurs for a venture company called Upfront Ventures. Through them, he's invested in several globally successful companies that he got in on the ground floor, with whom became names we all know today. Lyft, Ring, Maker Studios, etc., and held things like tournaments for upcoming entrepreneurs to win investment opportunities. It's something Chamillionaire has been doing personally since the early 2000s, as he's always been interested in the future of technology and business. So then came modeling companies, tour buses equipped with studio, shower, internet, cable, and more, because he says he saw people all across the industry, for example video girls that wanted the better life but didn't know how to achieve it and wanted to help. In 2016, he invested in a self-driving technology that sold to General Motors for $1 billion. The company Maker Studios he invested in early sold to Disney for almost $1 billion, turning Chamillionaire's initial $1.5 million investment to a $20 million payout. Everything he touched seemed to have great returns, as if he was destined to be the investor and entrepreneurial mind he became. He continued down this path of investor and building his own ideas to become invested in, that music just didn't fit into the plans any longer. After album 2, which made back-to-back successful projects, he dove 100% into the business world as musically things were coming to an end slowly but surely. Obviously in life, that's a growth spurt story, but for fans, it marked the end to an artist we've grown to appreciate and anticipate. Sadly, that part of Chamillionaire's focus was redirected. Stunt number 3? There is no stunt number 3 for Chamillionaire. He was becoming one of the South's biggest acts as a rapper, well on his way to being one of the standouts in the game. But then, other successes came along that were too profitable to pass up. Anyone in position to see $1 million investment become $20 million over a short period of time would leave and do the same. To have multiple investments do this very same thing can only push that passion deeper and take you away from any other endeavor going on in your life. Especially when your previous life was music and you were beginning to struggle with labels telling you what you can and cannot do and what music you can and cannot release. Chamillionaire found a much easier way to not just make money, because as he states, it's not all about money. It's about helping creative people who have an idea but not the knowledge of how to get where they want with the idea that satisfies him. It always brings great satisfaction to see his own ideas outside of music succeed, and at the point they were, it was time to leave music. All in all, musically, as stated earlier, Chamillionaire was and is a success. It didn't last as long as fans wanted, but his body of work was still extensive with 2 albums and countless songs and mixtapes. He became someone to look up to in the world, period, and I, for one, am happy for him and all the things he's brought to the world. Salute to Chamillionaire, much respect. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth Music, and I'm out.